watching, could you please introduce yourself since they can't see you completely?
What's up, guys? I'm in the dark. My name is Nathan Feinstein, often known as Nathan Aurora. I'm a singer, guitar player, songwriter. Um, I'm a dad, a husband. I play for a band called Aurorawave. Check us out. We're coming to a city near you.
Yes, definitely check them out. They are making waves for sure. So, I'd like to go back in time a little to when you were a little kid. What first sparked your interest in music?
Um, my first CD ever was the Lion King soundtrack, and it's still, the older I get, the more I appreciate it. It's still such a sick album. But I think that's the first time I remember actually falling in love with music was like holding that CD and just being stoked to have a CD and like feeling really cool about it, like I got a CD. Um, First time I held a guitar, I was 10 years old. My neighbor Jordan got like a shiny red Stratocaster for Christmas, and we were playing video games at his house, and he's like, dude, check this out. It was like one of those movie moments where like I grabbed it and it's like, oh, and like I don't know what it was, but from that point on at 10 years old, I was like, yep, this is what I'm doing. This is my life now. Um, Went home, begged my mom for a guitar, and she saved up for like 6 months and bought me a little $99 guitar, and I just never put it down and just kept playing and trying to learn.
I always wished I could learn guitar. I tried for a hot minute when my dad bought me an electric guitar for Christmas, but
Yeah,
I just never picked it up. I tried to teach myself and he bought me lessons, but then I never went to them.
it has to be right, man. It has to be right.
I just don't think I'm musically inclined. Hmm.
But you love music. This is a music podcast, right?
This is true. I
Let me
love
tell you this.
music,
It's like one
but
of my favorite kind of music lovers is someone who doesn't actually play music but just loves music. And I have two best friends in my life that are kind of like my musical confidants, and neither of them actually play music, but I swear to God, they love music more than like every musician that I know. And it's like a different relationship with music because they don't play it. So they're just listening. And so I send them every song I ever write. And I'm like, is this cool? And they don't listen to it like, oh, yeah, you played that note this way or whatever. But it's more like it's about the vibe. It's a different way of listening, which is cool.
it's true. It's true. I
Do you
do
find you
have,
get, I was going to say, do you find you get more of like a cohesive feedback versus like a nitpicking feedback from those kind of people?
I think it's less about technicality and more about vibe, which is cool because as like the player of it, you're always listening for like kind of, or like a producer even, you're listening for like technical things, like how's the mix, how's this, how's that. But it's like the cool thing about that is like how good is the song itself? You know what I mean? Like, is the song good? How does it make you feel? Kind of vibe.
yeah, I've actually got a couple friends like that where they are in bands and everything. One of them we actually interviewed and me and him became like really good friends and he randomly sends me things sometimes because he knows I don't play anything and I'm just a
Yeah,
music podcast person, and I love music. So he's always looking at my asking me for feedback sometimes. So,
yeah. It's important for songwriters to have those kind of people in their lives, especially when we know like you could be honest with it, because these are like some of my lifelong friends, like goes back 20 years, and they've heard every one of my songs, and I don't take shit personal in general, but especially from them when they're like, this one's not it, bro, like go back to the lab and like rework this part or whatever, and like they can tell me if something sucks, and that's important.
right. So what made you fall in love with reggae?
I don't know, man. I think it's like basic answer, but it was just the vibe, man. I found reggae when I was like 16. Just listening to Sublime and stuff. I used to smoke a lot of pot, so like in high school, I was just skateboarding with friends, and I loved metal the whole time. Metal was the first genre that I fell in love with, like Metallica album at, right at 10 when I picked up a guitar. So I was always like drawn to the riff and, was into metal for so long, but I was at that young palpable age where like we fall in love with different genres, and I always loved it all, man. But the first time I heard Sublime, I just was hooked, and um, that's where it all started, And from then there was like this budding, what is now the American reggae scene, but back then there was a handful of bands. It was like Sublime and Slightly Stupid and the Expendables and like some California American reggae bands, and I just fell in love with it all, man. And we started going to shows, and so I was kind of like it was kind of duality there because I was in a death metal band. I was in a deathcore band from the time I was like 13 until 20. And right smack dab in the middle of that, me and like two of my band members fell in love with reggae. So we're like playing deathcore and we're listening to reggae. And, a lot of people didn't understand it, but just always liked good music, regardless of the genre.
Yeah, I remember being into Sublime and stuff at an earlier age. I know my favorite song was Wrong Way.
Great song.
It's definitely my favorite. Did you have a
Yeah.
favorite song, Chris, of Sublime?
Yeah. Um, oh gosh. Don't make me pick a favorite.
Have you
That's
guys ever
that's
heard
a
that song Seed by them?
yeah.
I
Great song.
probably have. I probably have. It doesn't sound familiar, but I probably did hear it.
It's
Now
like one
did
of their more like punk rock songs, but it dips into like a full reggae chorus. And like buddy of mine has been telling me how he kind of like hears that like it tickles this weird itch in our psyche when you hear it go from like a thrashing punk groove and then it goes like perfectly into this reggae groove. And he's like, I think that's the vein that you're tapping into with this band and everything because it's like it's a this build up, build up, build up, and then a release. And I'm like, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, that song "Seed" by Sublime. If people haven't heard it, check it out. It's a great song.
Now did you ever get into any of the Sublime with Rome songs that had come out?
I never really got into the originals. Rome's a good friend of mine, and so I always like was super aware of what they were doing and stuff, and watching Sublime just crush it and following along their journey and stuff. But at that point now, I wasn't really listening to too much of the new originals.
So I'm curious, what made you leave your former project and want to start Aurora Wave?
I mean, it was just kind of like shit behind the scenes wasn't great. Something had to change. So I've been playing music my whole life. It's all I know how to do. So if I'm not doing it in one project, I'm on to the next one. You know what I mean?
It's true. I can't stay on one project sometimes. I go from one to another.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you do something for so long, it's just what you do. So you keep going regardless of, what the name of the project or anything is. You just keep going.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of, if any, challenges have you faced during mixing with the mix of reggae and metal?
I wouldn't really say any challenges, man. It's like not even really like a conscious thing at this point. I'm just letting songs write themselves. Um, I mean, I think if there's been any challenge, it's like, it doesn't really matter. But it's like the only challenge, I guess, at all is like there's blowback from elitists on both sides. But that's just like you can expect that with any music or art that you put out into the world. But to me, it's not really a challenge. I would just say the writing of it and the creation of it is all like super easy and just flowing.
Yeah. It sucks that there's got to be gatekeepers for every single genre in the world.
Yeah, it exists in every scene.
It definitely does. It definitely
Yeah.
does. But it sucks nonetheless.
Yeah, but it's like kind of cool because like when people talk shit about you, it kind of helps spread the word.
It's
So,
true. It's true. If only that worked for us, Chris, right?
I know that one hate comment we got earlier, I really wish it would blow up.
did you guys get one today?
Was that,
Someone just commented on TikTok and was like, people actually listen to this?
Uh, fuck them, dude.
But
I was
we
like,
just
Jess,
leave it.
no, I told her, I was like, Jess, comment back and be like, was this your way of hoping somebody listened to you? Uh,
Yeah, there you go.
I told you.
There's still time,
Projecting.
Chris. There's still time.
There's still time.
So I'm curious. I have listened to some other interviews and I have done my research, and I a few of the band members live further away. Now, has that been a struggle with you guys being like on opposite sides of the country?
For sure. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to just like number one, like we're all friends, so it'd be nice to be able to just get together and jam and hang out and stuff. But we get the job done regardless. We're really there goes my lights. We're really utilizing technology in a pretty cool way, in any form that we can. Like we did our first tour last summer, started in at the end of May, and I was going live on YouTube on a private a private live stream with like pro audio going into the computer. And so I was jamming live. And so I couldn't hear them jamming, but they could jam along with me and then like comment in the chat, like, yo, can you run that verse again? Or like run that part. I want to work on this riff. Or like, yeah, Nate, can you play that one riff slower so I can like hear it? So they would all be like in their separate spots, but we'd be jamming to like the live stream. So that was cool. But other than that, I mean, it's really just about like the added logistics of before a tour. We just fly into a city and meet up and rehearse. But I'm getting them all like the MP3s and stuff well in advance so they can rehearse on their own, and then we all kind of get together and jam before a tour.
So you figured it all out for the most part.
It just you just make do with what you got, you know. And it's like I got to handpick these guys. A lot, they're all like long time friends, and so I was like well aware there's going to be challenges with them living far away, but they're all phenomenal musicians. So it's like it's been a piece of cake. Like I'll send them a new addition to the set a month before we go on the tour, and they come to rehearsal, and it's just nailed down. You know.
Nice.
Now, I will say, like with a mix of heavy music and reggae and a lot more into the debut album, listening to it was kind of quite the voyage, I'll say, from track to track. Were there any musical elements you tried to work in and maybe couldn't get to work, or did it just all work itself out for you?
I think it all pretty much worked itself out with the first record. It's been I'll say this because like the first album there was a lot of songs left over from like the interim. So like when I was in my last band, I kind of had like 6 or 7 songs that didn't have a home yet. And when I started Aurora Wave, I was like, I got to get this record out. So I took a lot of the old songs that were in the, just kind of sitting in the vault, and ended up working them into finished songs. But like 4 or 5 of the songs on the first album were written when I had the idea for Aurora Wave of what I want it to be. So, and you can kind of, if I tell you the songs, you can kind of like, it kind of makes sense. So it's like Inferno, Kindness, Boiling Point, the ones that lean a little bit heavier, um, were all intentionally Aurora Wave tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other ones were kind of like floaters from the ether, that had been looking for a home for a while. So, that being said, a lot more cohesive in terms of like the direction and like the cohesiveness of it all. So, in a lot of ways, this album that's about to come out this year, like probably should have been the first record, but that's just not how timing works out and the universe works out. You know what I mean? But this is the first album that like front to back has been written 100% for Aurora Wave with that intention.
Yeah.
Just a
Well,
quick heads up before we continue, your audio jumped from whatever it was on into something else
I see that. It's on my
mid-sentence.
fucking it's on my truck now because the lights kept shutting off. Let me figure out how to switch. I mean, does it sound okay now or it was better
It's
before?
no, no, no. It sounds fine. I just wanted to let you know in case you weren't able to hear us or something.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys are playing through my truck now. Sorry about my production quality. I apologize to everyone.
Sorry, it gives me a reason to dim my lights too, and I quite like this
Yeah,
personally.
we're the
well,
night riders now, dude.
you guys are. I'm
See, Jess, I
still
told you
bright and
I had
white.
the idea for Jam XP After Dark, and this is exactly what it should be.
Yeah, let's go.
It's true. It's true. I just don't think it would look right with my lights off. I don't
Your
know.
scene looks great, Jess.
I'll be the bright light. You
I
guys
know
can be in the dark.
the only thing I'm missing is my Medusa in the background.
Oh
Let's
well.
go.
So my favorite songs off the debut record personally are Meant to Be, Kindness, and No Love Lost. But the whole
Awesome.
album is definitely a vibe. And I'm sure you yourself love all the songs, but are there any songs on the record that are personal favorites of yours?
Yeah, like I was saying in the earlier, I think that like the ones that lean heavier, they feel kind of exactly where I want to be right now, you know? So like the kindness, the Inferno, the No Love Lost, but also too Meant to Be. Um, because the next record still has like some Meant to Be type tracks on it. But yeah, the heavier the better for me at this point in my life.
Yeah.
Now, even the songs that aren't heavy, I found myself listening and thinking like these lyrics are still pretty metal.
Fuck yeah.
I'm just curious as to how you find ways to strike that balance between the reggae and the metal and not overdoing one side rather than the other.
I think I'm kind of always trying to figure it out, dude. But like I said too, I'm just letting the songs write themselves at this point, you know? Um, a lot of the ones now, the I would say the biggest like lyrical thing that I'm trying to figure out is I haven't really found the magic concoction to make a heavy song that's not pissed off, you know? Because it's like you hear something heavy and you just instantly kind of lean into the like more aggressive, more in your face type lyrics, you know? So one day I'll write the Posse Core anthem, but I actually might have one on the next record. There's a heavy song with super positive lyrics, so I'm trying to crack that code.
Listen, if Beartooth can make like a largely whole positive album, you can do it too.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Everyone can do it. You just gotta try, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And then for me, Trust and Believe is one of my favorites. The lyrics resonated with me. I'm also a sucker for horns and songs. Um, can you recall where the influence came while writing that song?
Yeah, dude. I that's awesome that that's your favorite one of your favorites on the record. That's really cool. You guys are more of like a just to give me context, like a rock podcast, right? Or do you guys have other reggae artists and stuff on?
I don't
We've
think we've
had
had,
no, we haven't had reggae. We've had ska.
Okay.
We've had a folk artist as well.
Very
yeah, I
cool.
mean, we're elder emos, so, but we love everything for the most part, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, very cool.
We definitely have been
Um,
trying to branch out and get different kind of music on the podcast because, not everyone listens to just emo music.
right. They should. I consider myself an elder emo as well. But yeah, trust and believe I'm stoked that that's one of your favorites. It's just kind of like the same vein I've been tapping into for a long time, man. Staying hopeful, staying positive, trusting that you're where you need to be, and one foot forward after the other. Shout out to the horn section that played on it, though, man. My buddy Stephen Bradley came up with all the lines. He wrote the lines. He's a trumpet player. He plays for like No Doubt. And then he assembled the team of horns, the three-piece horn section. So there's another cat named Zem Adu that played saxophone on it that ripped that solo on Trust and Believe. I haven't met him in person yet, but just a great, great horn section.
Yeah. Would you ever have the horns live?
Totally. I definitely would really like to, but I think that the direction that this band's going is like there's not a lot of space for horns, but there's definitely off that first record. Would be cool to bring horns out for like 4 or 5 tracks, live.
That would be fun. It would be fun on stage.
Yeah,
You could choreograph it and everything.
totally. Yeah, bringing horns live is a really cool vibe.
Yeah. So, how does your music reflect your personal experiences and emotions, and how do you hope it resonates with your fans on a deeper level?
Good question. Um, I just like I said, I just let the songs write themselves at this point. So it's all about being vulnerable and it's all just like about um writing what I feel in that moment and kind of knocking those walls down of second guessing like, hey, what is this song about or whatever, but it's just like letting it flow straight from the heart. And in terms of how I hope it resonates with fans, I hope it just gives them like motivation to be themselves and do whatever the fuck they want to do. And a lot of the lyrics I think are about like personal sovereignty and just believing in yourself and overcoming adversity and trusting the process. So I would just hope that yeah, motivates people and inspires them to get up and get after it.
Yeah. And you guys just released a new song, Throwing Shade, with Jesse Royale last week on
Yeah.
February 21st. Love the song, and it seems like others are loving it as well. How has the song been received by fans?
It's been awesome, dude. And I'm stoked that they like it. This is definitely one of the more reggae tracks off the new record. Bringing Jesse definitely adds that element to it. Um, and the response has been awesome. It's been really cool. Put a focus on like the full length music video and stuff for this one, which we're going to be doing on a lot of the singles that are coming out next. And it's been cool. It's been our most streamed song on YouTube and I think on Spotify too, which is cool, because when this band started, it was like it was a year ago, there's zero monthly listeners, you know? So to watch it all kind of build and build and build, and every time we release a song, there's a bigger audience that gets it instantly. It's been super rewarding. So yeah, I'm happy with the response. Seems like people are really liking it.
Yeah, that's great. Love to hear that. How was it working with Jesse?
He's the best, dude. We had collabed with my old band, I think in 2017 or 18, sometime around there. We had a song together. But a lot of it was like super remote. You know, he lives in Jamaica, so it's even with this one, it's sending the song via email and stuff. But with this one, we linked up for the music video, and I feel like that's where we really bonded. But even working on the track this time around was much more like there was more to it, you know, with us bouncing stuff back and forth and getting it right and everything. And I think he just really loves the song, which is really cool because the way that this collab worked out was like, I don't think he was really too tapped in with what I was doing and with my old band and stuff. And so one day he just stumbled upon Aurorawave's page and like blew it up and was liking all the heavy metal shit. And I was like, that's really cool because this is like a world-renowned reggae artist, you know? And I definitely had no inkling that like he would be into the heavy side of things, but that's what drew him in. And so he just hit me up and was like, "Yo, what you're doing right now is sick. You know, keep going." And it's like light bulb. It was just like, "Well, dude, obviously you should jump on a song. That'd be awesome." And he's like, "I'm all about it." So I went in and just wrote throwing shade and sent it to him, and he was just like, "Dude, this song is so sick. Let's go." Um, and so yeah, when he came out for the video and stuff, it was just cool, man. He just loves the band, he loves the project, he loves the song, and he's just been really graceful and cool about everything.
It's
Yeah,
awesome. Do you go ahead, Jess?
you've collabed with quite a few people. And
Yeah.
if you, and I'm like, how many collaborations can one band have? Are you gonna have a bunch of collabs on the new album?
There's a lot, man. It's like a very common thing within like the reggae scene where we come from too, is collabs are just such a huge part of records, you know? Um, so it's always been a big part of what I do. I think it's like makes a album really cool when you bring in some great guest artists, you know. So it'll always be a focus of what we do for sure. Especially we're tying in two genres together, so there's a big focus on you know, going forward of like bringing some of the best artists from both sides onto the same album, which I think is really cool in terms of like crossing the fan bases and stuff, you know, because I think there's going to be a lot of metalheads that are hearing artists like Jesse Royal for the first time and vice versa, you know, a lot of reggae heads that are going to be hearing some of the like heavier guests on this next record. And I know, you know, I spent 12 years in the reggae scene primarily, and so like definitely a lot of reggae fans hearing artists like The Ghost Inside and Attila and stuff for the first time.
Oh yeah, they
Are
probably
there any
definitely are.
are there any collaborations you'd love to do that maybe just wouldn't make sense or would be absolutely wild? Like, I don't know, like Fred Durst or something like that.
Dude, everything's on the table, dude. Collabing with Fred Durst would be fucking awesome. But that's the beauty of this band, you know, is that it kind of does leave everything on the table. Anyone is I could write a song that would work with any artist, you know.
I think I could see you with Fred Durst. I could see it.
There's yeah, that's a main goal, dude. Our band loves Limp Bizkit, so collabing with him would be fucking awesome. One of my favorite artists too is called Hardy. He's doing like heavy country stuff. And he just collabed with Fred Durst on his new record.
Yeah. I I have a Fred, well, I have a Limp Bizkit shirt. It was a tour shirt that I didn't go to the tour because my mom wouldn't let me go, but my brother brought me a shirt back.
Yeah, dude.
But it's from like 1998 or something. I don't know. It's old. It's old.
All the power. Glory be to Limp Bizkit, dude. Limp Bizkit rules.
It's funny because
I
whenever I'm doing like an adult coloring book, and someone's wearing a hat, it's like it's got to be red every single time. It's got to
It's
be
just
red.
subconsciously, it's
Yeah.
ingrained in our whole generation.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I know some people like to like, say they don't like Limp Bizkit and all this stuff, and I'm like, you're lying. You're
Yeah.
lying. You liked them back in the day, and you still secretly like them.
Well, it's so funny, dude. Like, I never got into Limp Bizkit when I was young, and there's a reason why. It's because in fifth grade, my bully of my school was wearing Limp Bizkit every day. It was his favorite band, and he was like 2 grades older than me, and he scared the shit out of me. So I never listened to Limp Bizkit. And as I got older, like honestly, only within like the last 5, 6 years, it's like, dude, Limp Bizkit fucking rules. You know, when there's like bands that you skip over that like blow up and become legendary and you discover them later in life,
Yeah.
kind
Or
of
there's
that scenario.
or Chris, there's bands that you don't like that you try to listen to again and you still don't like them.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
We've
true.
done that. We did that. We did an episode a while back, like when the podcast started, and we were like, let's give these bands a second chance. It didn't go
Nope.
well.
But they're popular bands that like a lot of people do
Yep,
like, right?
it is.
Yeah.
They are
It's
popular
just
bands that everyone loves.
something for everybody, man. There's a lot of bands out there like that too that like I don't get it, but I get it. You know what I mean?
You can't love everything.
That's true. It's true. It's important to just like let people like shit though, you know?
It's true. I mean, you gotta, if people like a certain band, that's fine. You love them.
Right.
I don't. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot of people love Taking Back Sunday. I don't.
Fucking love Taking Back Sunday.
But I don't.
Yeah. I love them so much that I'm okay that everyone says they suck live. And I'm just like, I've seen them live. It's not the greatest, but if you love the band, you fucking sing your heart out and go nuts.
It's true. If you grew up on them and you fell in love with them in their early years, you're still gonna like them now, I guess, right?
Core memories, dude.
Yeah. Adam just didn't take care of his voice. Like the instrumentals still are super awesome
Totally.
live. And every once in a while Adam gets into his rhythm.
Dude, it's tough being a singer. Like I know it's like whatever. Everyone like is like, oh, whatever, woe is me. But it's like I for the first time in my career just started taking vocal lessons because I'm learning how to scream. And so I'm like starting from square one there. And I'm like, I've always kind of dealt with vocal fatigue and things like that because I've never had proper vocal training. I just jumped in. So even like before screaming was dealing with vocal fatigue on the road and stuff like that because I'm just yelling on stage and being all hyped and stuff. So I'm like, all right, well, now's the time to really like dial it all back to square one. If I'm going to add a new skill to the arsenal, let me like improve on the foundations of like just vocals in general. So for the last couple months, I've been like really dialing it in with like warm ups and just kind of like getting in tune with my body and realizing just how purely physical singing is. And I think it's something that, especially for a band like Taking Back Sunday, like they got huge when they were kids, you know? And so if you don't take the time off the road and like take the time to like go back and build those foundations, it's like easy to just get carried away. And, especially you tie it in with drinking, partying, whatever it
Hmm.
is, smoking, all these things. It's like the voice is a crazy thing, you know?
I
No,
mean, you got to take care of your voice, and some people didn't take care of the voice. Like, there's been singers that have had vocal, surgery because they didn't take care of their voice, and that's not
Totally.
good.
Yeah,
And now they don't scream as much as they used to.
totally. Totally.
Now, I've heard with screaming, if you train properly, it's actually not supposed to be any different than regular singing, like as far as like the wear on your vocal cords.
Yeah.
But
That's what I've been learning. I think, and our new our this generation is different than all who came before it because the people who've been screaming for the last 20, 20 whatever years, it's like there was no proper techniques. People were just literally screaming and yelling. But nowadays they've dialed in techniques to make it healthier, let you have more longevity. So I'm pretty blessed to be able to learn it in this time when there's like vocal coaches and things like that that are teaching you the proper ways.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a quick hard pivot. So you guys are playing some amazing festivals this year. Louder Than Life was the most recent one announced. How stoked are you guys to be playing some of these festivals? And let me just say, I would love to have gone to the one in Virginia Beach, because that one had me stoked, that lineup. But
Yeah.
yeah, how stoked are you guys?
Oh man, just could not be more stoked, could not be more grateful. All the festivals we're playing are badass and just happy to be a part of them, man.
Is there anyone playing the festivals that you are excited to see yourself?
Definitely the entire Louder Than Life lineup. Like I said, I've been in the reggae scene for 12 years, so most of the reggae fest, I've played them a million times and I've seen all those bands hundreds of times. I'm so thankful for that. But I've seen most of those bands, 100 times. But the louder thing is we're stepping into a new world, and a lot of those bands I grew up on, and they're my favorite bands. And 5 years ago, never thought I'd be on the same bill as them. So very, very stoked. But even the Reggae Fest are diversifying their lineups a lot. So like the Cali Vibes Festival that's in Long Beach, I've played it every year since its inception since last year. But they added Kid Cudi this year, which is really cool. I'm a big Kid Cudi fan, so to watch him is going to be rad.
Yeah. I would love to go to Louder Than Life, but unfortunately, I feel like I can't quite make that happen this year since I'm going to Warped Tour in Orlando.
Nice, nice. Are you guys based in Florida? Is that where you guys live?
No, I'm in Wisconsin.
And I'm in
Oh,
upstate New
okay.
York.
So I
No
get to
way.
fly down to Florida.
Yeah.
Chris won't fly though.
Hmm.
Well, thank you guys for working with me so late. I know it's late where you guys are.
But nah, it's fine. We are very flexible for the most part. That's why a Friday worked best because Chris doesn't work tomorrow. I work tomorrow, but I'm better on less sleep than he is.
You're a trooper,
You're also
Jess.
an hour behind me.
It's true. It's true. I am an hour behind you. So that does help a little, but still,
Totally. Well, I
we're
appreciate you
flexible.
guys.
When we
Yeah.
want to get someone on, we want to get someone on, you know? Got to work
Yeah.
with them.
Totally.
Got to work with them. But we did have one fan answer our call for questions for you guys. Shockingly, we didn't get more. And it was like, what the heck? Nobody wants to ask you guys questions, I guess.
Cool
None of
with
your
me.
none of your none of your fans want to ask you questions.
I put it all out there for them.
It's true. It's true. If I mean, if you already are answering questions all the time online, they don't even have to ask.
Yeah.
You're doing your social media game too well.
Take it as a compliment, man.
But we did have Leona Sky. She wanted to know the band is still in its early stages, but you've already built a dedicated fan base. What has been the most exciting or unexpected part of the journey so far?
Um, yeah, I'm super grateful for it. I think probably just the rapid growth of it has been awesome, and seeing these things that I knew would be cool go out into the universe, and other people also recognizing that it's cool has been just fucking awesome. And because when you're starting a band from scratch, you're just staring up at the world's tallest mountain, and you're like riding on a dream. So you're like, I hope this works. I hope people like this. And so the success of it and the trajectory and the fan base has been phenomenal, and it was everything that an artist could hope for. So I'm just really grateful.
And question two, from her is, what are your goals for the band in the next year? Any dream collabs, upcoming tours, or surprises in the works?
Goals for the next year is just drop an all-time record, um, tour it a bunch, keep growing, keep building, um, and dream collabs. I don't. I There's three artists on my vision board. I'm a big vision board guy with this band. It's Hardy, Jeremy from A Day to Remember, and Ronnie Radke are my three like top artists to do collabs with. But we'll see. There's a lot. There's a million.
Yeah, those would be great collabs, especially the Day to Remember one.
He, I think that I've just like, everybody asks you all the time, like, what's your favorite band? That's like the common question. I'm pretty sure it's just A Day to Remember at this point in my life. I just look back at all the years of listening to them and their catalog and what they're still doing now. I'm just like, yeah, they're the goats.
Yeah, you like the new record?
The new one,
New one, yes.
I haven't uh I haven't heard it yet, but the two singles that dropped on Spotify, and they're rad.
Yeah, that's all I've heard as well, and they are rad.
Yeah. I just love what they're doing, man. And I think, for those of us elder emos that were there for their rise and things like that, it's something pretty special to watch a band grow and evolve with such grace that they are, and continue to change the game and do rad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that they released their record already, but they didn't release it online. They wanted to
It's
sell
cool.
those, they wanted those vinyl and those CDs,
It's really
which
cool. It's a cool idea. I
I
sent it to the
think,
head of my record label and I was like, this is a cool idea. I don't know. We'll see how it works, but it's something different and it's cool.
I mean, it's kind of going back to your roots in a way,
Totally.
like before the internet was just crazy about streaming, it was you had to go buy the physical CD when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways too, they're doing favors to like the physical music world, just encouraging people to get back and buy records and go into music stores and things. It's definitely cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they say that CDs are a dying, thing, but I mean, if you start selling CDs again, then they're not dead. They're not dying. They won't
Yeah,
go
y-
exist.
totally. Totally.
Now we have one other fan question, and this one was just kind of like, really, guys, really? Done For wants to know how much you love Done For.
I think those kids are fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast a while back, so they were like they were like asking their question, and I'm like, I'll ask it. I'll ask it.
Yeah. I'm excited to meet them just because they've been cool as hell online and I really like everything that they're doing. So they're opening for us in Florida next month and stoked to meet them. Seem like really cool kids.
Yeah, they're fun guys. They're fun. We had fun when we interviewed them, right, Chris?
Yeah.
And then they got a lot of energy, so that's good, right?
Yeah, I love it. They're a young, hungry band that's working their ass off. So I'm like, more power to you, man.
It's true. It's true. They're doing the work. You got to do the
They are.
work.
They are, man. And I respect the shit out of it.
So we do have one final question, the most important question of the night. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Let me think about this. My wife is a dinosaur fanatic. And so my kid in turn loves dinos. Um, Me, on the other hand, they're just kind of whatever. But let's see. I might just be a basic bitch and say T-Rex, dude.
That's fine. We've had lots of T-Rexes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a big dinosaur head like the rest of my family. My wife got everything she could have ever asked for because she loves dinosaurs. She always has. And so like his baby shower was all dino themed and his nursery's all dinos. And my kid wakes up every day and he's like, sees his posters on his wall and he's like, and get him a dino shirt. So definitely living in a dinosaur household.
A dinosaur household. Man, we should have asked your wife this question then.
Oh, she's a plesiosaur kind of gal.
Ah, she's a
Yeah.
plesiosaur. I'm a
Yeah, she
brachiosaurus.
which one is that?
It's one of the long necks, the one with the hump on the top of the
Big
head, the little
fan.
hump.
Big fan. My son's favorite movie right now is called The Good Dinosaur. It's
Ah,
so good. If you haven't seen it, definitely worth a watch.
yeah, I don't think I actually ever watched that one yet.
I
I
watched
guess
it 10 times today.
I'm sure you did. And you'll
Yeah,
probably watch
it's a
it
great
10
movie.
times tomorrow.
I sure will.
Chris's favorite dinosaur is
Ankylosaur.
You got to be fancy, don't you, Chris?
Always. That's just
What
me.
is it?
Mr.
What
Fancy.
is it?
It's the one with the armored shell and he's got the big bulbous tail.
Very cool.
it's got the club tail.
Yeah.
Right. I might be kind of a pterodactyl kind of guy too, now that I think of it, but I probably can't change my answer.
You could be two dinosaurs. You could be a T-Rex and a pterodactyl if you want.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll lean a little more towards pterodactyl.
Don't they have
Body of
that
a
one? Isn't that one pterodactyl like bird, like one got like a dinosaur like T-Rex head?
yeah, like the pterodon.
The
Yeah,
pterodon,
he's got
yes.
like a but I was gonna say body of a T-Rex, wings of a pterodactyl. That'd be sweet.
Very sick because the T-Rex's biggest downfall, obviously, its arms.
It's true.
Just
He's
give him
got a
some weight to his
Well,
head.
big head and
no one
little
can be
arms.
perfect, you know?
It's true. Chris, now that could be a new tattoo for you.
No one's perfect. And it's a T-Rex.
A T-Rex with pterodactyl wings. We're coming up with some crazy tattoos now, right?
Album cover, dude.
There you go. Or a t-shirt design.
There you go.
T-shirt design. But the dinosaur question was our last question. Now, is there anything else you'd want to add?
I would just say thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody for listening to the podcast and to the music. Thanks for supporting. You guys are letting me live my dream that I always wanted. So very grateful, very appreciative, and there's a lot of awesome stuff in the works.
Yep.